She was diagnosed in 2006, and her father also had Parkinson's disease, and Georgia never told her dad that she had Parkinson's, actually. She just didn't want to even have him concerned about it. We're Brad and Georgia Stockwell, originally from Washington State. This is my wife, Georgia. Her parents really didn't like the idea that I was a couple years older than her, but graduated from high school, I went to Vietnam and came back, and we got married in 1972 and had our first daughter in 74.
My daughter Molly had mentioned, "Mom, walk. I want to see you walk." And she says, "Do you notice that your left arm kind of hangs more than the other arm?" And so she said, "We're going to make an appointment." So that's how I found out, with my daughter. And then the doctors, of course. And
I knew something about it already. I knew it was incurable and it's progressive, and so I knew then I had to do, I'm going to be her caregiver for forever and ever. And my daughter and I actually have a gym for Parkinson's patients called Rocksteady Boxing that involves boxing. I was actually donating some fitness equipment to a banner program there. I hadn't really ever been over there before, and as I went there, I saw on the sign there when you go in with the buildings there, and it said the Brain and Body Donation Program, and I thought, oh my gosh, what is this? And so I went in there, and I don't even remember who it was I talked to. As soon as I found out about that, I said, we've got to do this.
My name is Tom Beach, and I'm the Director of Neuroscience and the Director of the Brain and Body Donation Program at Banner Sun Health Research Institute. I first became interested in neuroscience and aging when I was in my bachelor's degree. Later, when I was in medical school, my father came down with Alzheimer's disease, and my father-in-law came down with Parkinson's. And he came to live with us for the last 2 years of his life. That's when I realized how devastating these diseases are for everyone involved. So I wanted to help. Most medical research, in fact, is pretty simple. We're trying to find the first chemical reactions that went bad to start a disease. And drugs are chemicals that can go into those chemical reactions and change the reaction to stop the disease or to slow it down. Because there are several diseases that cause identical symptoms to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, we really need to diagnose better to find out which of these diseases is actually causing the symptoms. And unfortunately, it's not like cancer where we can do a biopsy and find out the actual cause during life, because the brain is very delicate and we don't want to biopsy it because of the risk. That's where the importance of studying the organs after death comes in. By studying the organs after death, we can look for other signs under the microscope, for instance, that will tell us which disease these people have. Studying the organs after death can also give us ideas for better diagnostic methods for these diseases, because Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are the most common causes of dementia and Parkinson's, but there are several other diseases that cause the same symptoms, and it's difficult for doctors to figure out which disease is it. So we've been instrumental in fact, helping to discover new diagnostic methods, including PET scans for Alzheimer's disease, which were validated partially here at our institute. And that's why the Brain and Body Donation Program is so important for our research and for researchers around the world who use our tissue, because we can look for those first chemicals that cause disease and look for new diagnostic methods to identify it earlier in living people.
One unique feature that set our Brain and Body Donation Program apart is our rapid autopsy program. These autopsies are important to improve diagnostics, but also for the discovery of new preventive and treatments for Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, and similar diseases. The tissue obtained in these autopsies will help us understand biochemical changes in the brain of individuals with diseases and compare it to those that do not have the disease. These biochemical changes could help us find better treatments. Also, we share thousands of samples with scientists around the world looking to move the field forward.
After enrolling in our program, our donors come to the Institute annually for cognitive and movement assessments. This clinical data is imperative to our clinical pathological diagnoses as well as to our research. Our donors are also given opportunities to donate blood samples and to get PET or MRI scans of their brains. When one of our donors passes away, the care home personnel or next of kin notifies our on-call staff, who then arranges for transport to our facility where we begin our procedure.
Performing an autopsy within a few hours of death ensures the highest tissue quality for research. It remains very close to what it was during life, and this means that we can do any type of research, including molecular biology research.
After running our tissue through various solutions, we start our diagnostic work by cutting very thin slices on this sliding freezing microtome. Then the sections will be ready to be mounted on glass slides.
After cutting and mounting the tissues, the slides are placed in an oven overnight to make sure that they're sufficiently adhered. They are then ready for staining, like this H&E that I'm performing. Staining is helpful in visualizing abnormal cells and deposits in the tissue, which is helpful for a pathologist to make a diagnosis. After staining, our slides are ready for microscopic examination.
We examine every brain slide under the microscope to identify what disease it was that caused the symptoms. This microscopic image shows dark blobs that are the senile plaques by which we identify Alzheimer's disease. And there's really two parts to Alzheimer's disease. There's not only the plaques, which I just showed you, there's the tangles. This microscopic image here shows tangled tau protein, which we see under the microscope, and it's the second part of Alzheimer's disease. Senile plaques plus neurofibrillary or tau tangles, that makes the diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease. And these blackish stained areas on the slide are made up of the protein synuclein, which when it aggregates forms the Lewy bodies that are the diagnostic feature of Parkinson's disease. So when we do this microscopic examination, it completes our story, starting from looking at the signs and symptoms during life, recording them every year, and finally getting the diagnosis after death.
A major component of the work we do is biobanking. We collect biospecimens, human biospecimens of relevant health information. Aside from us doing the microscopic diagnosis and our own research, we send high quality of tissue to researchers all over the world. We not only send organs like liver or brain, we also send biofluids such as plasma, serum, cerebrospinal fluid, as well as brain cells and also fibroblasts. And we usually store these for long-term storage at -80-degree freezers. When we send tissue to researchers, we cut them in small pieces. We put dry ice in these insulated boxes. We put the tissue here to keep it fresh, and then we send them locally or even overseas.
When we send out our samples like this one, our special couriers can refill the dry ice every 24 hours if necessary, and we're able to monitor the temperature remotely. We send out samples all over the world, keeping them fresh and frozen throughout their whole entire journey. Thus, our generous donation from our donors are able to be used in a wide array of research studies benefiting the lives of future generations. Even one donation can serve in multiple research studies across the world.
We enroll patients with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's, and dementia with Lewy bodies, as well as other diseases that cause neurological disorder or motor disorder, cancer patients, and those who we consider cognitively normal and do not have any neurological disease. The enrollment criteria is you must be 65 years and older, you must be free from any infectious diseases such as hepatitis and HIV, you must reside in Maricopa County at least 6 months out of the year as well.
It's great to know that what we're doing is going to help for the future so they can find out what to do about this horrible disease. and hopefully eliminate it, and at least know that there's hope for the future.
I just really do think that there is a huge future in this and in this program also. And we're really glad that they're there.
Thank you for taking this virtual tour of our institute and our program. In fact, our donors have played an incredible role in advancing research in both Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease. And they will continue to do so in the future. And if you are interested in joining in this incredible program, please visit our website.